everybody, welcome. I'm so excited to be here today. My name is Lauren Membranio. I'm hosting Cafe Latino today, and I'm here with my new friend Gary Cason, and he's with Farmers Insurance, and he's going to be teaching us how to cook a delicious Greek meal. And tell us a little bit about yourself, Gary. What brings you here, and just what's a little bit about you and your background?
Sure. Well, thanks so much for having me, Lauren. I appreciate being here, and I'm looking forward to us cooking.
I can't wait.
So I'm the district manager with Farmers Insurance for Northern Virginia. And together with our team in Tyson's Corner and Baltimore, we have this area, and we have more than 100 agents and licensed professionals in this area that I'm very proud to be a part of this team.
Wow, and how did you get in the insurance field?
So the insurance field kind of happened accidentally. I was a police officer for the first 10 years of my career, and while I was on the police department, I started thinking I didn't want to do it forever. It was a great job, but I decided to go back to college and was able to attain my degree in management and then into insurance. It was almost a natural migration into insurance because police officers, in addition to the fun, crazy stuff like the vehicle chases and all that, you help people. That's what you do at your core, and that's what we do at Farmers. We are here to help people.
Wow, and how long have you been with Farmers?
I've been with Farmers for 6 years, and I've been in this business for 16. I've only worked for 2 companies, and Farmers, of course, is my favorite.
Wow, and so what do you do as a district manager?
As a district manager, I am tasked with helping our existing agency owners, and again, the licensed professionals that work with them. And we are also charged with growing this area. We have a tremendous appetite to grow in the Northern Virginia marketplace, and I'm a part of the group that brings people together for roles with Farmers.
That's exciting. So when you say grow, basically you're recruiting, you're looking for talent in the area, I imagine.
We are. We're always looking for good talent. And in this area, 3.5 million people, and as you know, it's a very diverse area. So we feel that there is strength in diversity, and we're always looking for talent, especially if they could speak a few other languages too.
That's awesome. And so why did you decide to do a cooking show of all things today with us?
So I believe that that cooking brings everyone together. We all have to eat. It doesn't matter where you're from.
A little too much sometimes.
Exactly. And I think food, it brings a lot of happiness. In fact, I jotted a few things down. Essentially, if food brings happiness to all, I talked with a few of my friends and picked up just a couple of language ideas. I'm going to try not to butcher these languages too much. But Arabic, Altam Yeti Besada. And in Vietnamese, Tuk Un Man Lai Niem Vui Cha Moi Nugliz. And in Spanish, I'm very lucky because I can have a little help from my friend.
Yes,
so, Lauren.
I can say it, la comida nos da felicidad. That's very true.
Wonderful. And then I'm part Greek, and so I called my lovely Aunt Iris, who is the baby sister of my Yaya, my grandmother, who taught me a lot about this recipe a long, long time ago. And Aunt Iris helped me with the pronunciation for defedi, fedi, agape sai alus. And again, pardon me for butchering some of this, but my intention is to say food brings happiness to all.
I love it. I know that we have such a diverse area watching, and so that's why I live here, for the diversity. And so do I get to say Opa after that? I know a little bit of Greek.
You certainly can,
Opa,
yes.
Woohoo! Okay, so can we start cooking?
I think we should.
Yay, I love to cook. So I think I'm going to be helping you with the filling. What's the dish we're making today?
So the dish that we're making today is spanakopita. And spanakopita is essentially bringing spinach and feta and eggs together with butter. You may need a nitroglycerin tablet after because it is a lot coming together, but it's delicious. In fact, it's paired very well with a Sauvignon Blanc, which I brought today. Maybe we could have some afterward. And fish. Fish is a great main course to have spanakopita accompany, although in my house, we sometimes just eat it by itself. I have an 8-year-old son, or we have an 8-year-old son, Teddy. And Teddy loves his daddy's spanakopita. In fact, ever since he was a baby, he would eat this.
I love it. Oh my gosh. And I told you earlier, but my family always serves spanakopita for Christmas morning breakfast with quiche and different other things. So I'm excited to make it for real because we usually buy it. And I think you're going to teach us some great tricks to make it ourselves. So I'm going to do the filling, right? So what's the first step? And what do we have here?
So the very first step is to take a pound of spinach.
Okay.
It's very important, no matter what anybody ever says, we never use frozen spinach.
Okay.
We only use fresh spinach, preferably organic, and that's easy to find nowadays. So you take a pound of spinach, and with either a Cuisinart or another food processor, or you can just chop it up with a knife. You chop it up, and I'll show some of the consistency.
Okay. Nice and chopped.
So you chop it up, you put it into a large bowl, and that essentially is the basis for what you have to start with.
Very healthy. Love it.
Exactly.
All right.
So the next ingredient that you would want to put in is going to be the eggs.
Okay. And we already beat these, I believe, earlier. How many eggs do we have here?
We have 5 eggs.
Okay.
Now, sometimes if the egg is a little smaller, then you may want to go with 6. But these were large eggs, and in this case, it's just 5. Otherwise, you get a little too soupy.
So I'm just going to put it right in?
Yeah, sort of pour it all around. Get you started.
Cannot wait to show my mom that I made spanakopita.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
So the next step is to go ahead and put the feta cheese in.
Okay, tell us about this feta.
I sure will. So
should I start putting it in while you
You
tell
certainly
us
could,
about it? Okay.
and just try to spread it all around. So with the feta, you want to go with Dodani. There are many brands out there, and sometimes if you have a good deli nearby that has spanakopita, maybe you could use theirs. But what I have found is Dodani, by and large, is the best mix for this.
Okay. So this is the one we should look for, right?
Exactly. Hey, thanks for showing it too.
I think it was a one package plus another half.
Yes. So essentially in the box, there are 2 bricks, if you would.
Okay.
So from one container, you're going to take both bricks, and from the other container, you're going to take 1.
Okay.
Now this is a little more than probably my Aunt Iris would want to put into it, but I really think a little bit more feta. So you're actually doing a little bit more than a pound of feta.
Okay. Love it.
Really
1 pound of
makes the
spinach,
dish.
1 pound of feta.
Or even more
try a little
feta.
bit of this fancy
And you know, that's what my wife does all the time. In fact, sometimes I have to pre-plan for it and get a little bit more because she and I will both kind of pick away at it. Exactly.
And then, do we go next to the green onions?
So you could go to any of them, but go ahead and do the green onions.
So you just kind of chop these. How many green onions do we put in here?
You know, that's all up to taste, but roughly I will chop up maybe 4 to put in there.
Does it matter if you do the green parts only, or do you also use the white parts?
I usually do a mixture, but what you've got there is fine. I don't go too deep into the white.
We're just going to sprinkle it on?
Just sprinkle it around, yes.
All right.
Okay, and then the next ingredient is the white pepper.
Okay, so we're going to do, if it was shaking, we just do a few shakes.
Exactly. So just a few pinches of white pepper. Again, this is all to taste. You know, spanakopita is as much of an art form as it is following a recipe directly. You're really going to find that the more you make it and the more that your family enjoys it, there's going to be some tweaks that you're going to make. And it's really okay. It's not like chili where you can go completely crazy, but you can tweak this to make it.
I was thinking in my family we'd probably add hot sauce of some kind, but.
So, well, and maybe you could do that too. And I just won't tell my grandmother that she did that. So the next is the dill weed.
Okay.
So the recipe calls, and this is going to be available later, so the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of dill weed. What I usually do is I'll put 1 tablespoon, it smells great.
Okay, I know.
I'll use 1 tablespoon to pour into the mixture, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with the other 2 a little bit later.
Okay. So I think this was 1 spoon that we put together earlier.
Great.
All right. Awesome. So now we're going to mix it?
Yes. So we've got all the ingredients in there, and so now at this point we will mix it.
Awesome. So how do you know when you're done mixing?
You know, you've got a few minutes, so just, I'd say keep going, but so far it's looking good. You really know when you have it mixed when it all looks kind of moist and when the feta is spread around. Now, I should point out that these bricks, they have to be crumbled, and you would already crumble them together.
Oh, yeah.
As you're stirring, they're going to crumble just a little bit more.
Which is what I do at home too.
Oh,
so while I'm mixing this for a minute, what do you usually look for when you're talking to someone about a potential career in insurance? What qualities do you look for, or experience?
Sure. At Farmers, a big key as to what we're looking for is someone who has a heart and a passion to help other people. Because at our core, that is what insurance is. Insurance is there for those tough times when a claim is made and for when people need us most, and that's where Farmers delivers.
So people with good people skills and good listeners, certainly. I would think.
Oh yeah, good people skills and some strong analytics, because they have to really be able to assess the needs, the individual needs of each customer, because we don't all have the same needs. We certainly have other things that have to be protected, and that's the power of having a farmer's agent. The farmer's agent will take the time to review your needs, and then also too, periodically, we have something called FFRs, where we review the policy with our customers to make sure that things are where they need to be along the way.
Great. And do most people come to you already working in insurance prior, or do you basically train them up? Are they entry level?
You know, that's a great question. So, I've been in this, like I said, for 16 years, and people ask me that question all the time. Gary, who are you looking for? And the answer is almost yes. It's so many people. Again, diverse backgrounds are great. Even diverse career paths can work out very well. There's really no one size fits all, and we provide the training. In fact, we have been ranked to have some of the best training. We were #1 a few years.
Wow.
Best corporate training in the entire country for all the companies that were ranked. So we have a great training program, and then you also have our team. I have a team on my district, and also too, there's corporate people that come together to give you the training. So you're in business for yourself as an agency owner, but you're never by yourself with Farmers.
That's awesome. Okay, so what do you think? Does it look good?
I think you look like you've done this before.
I know. It took some arm muscle, but since I have little kids, I have those muscles. So I'm excited that I qualified here. So what is the next step?
So that's fantastic. So the next step, I'm going to kind of save you from what can sometimes be a struggle for people. And let's see if this works out for me.
Okay.
So the phyllo dough, I do want to say that out of all the time I've been doing this, the phyllo can be some of the hardest for someone new to it, and even for some of us who have made this dish probably hundreds of times by now.
I'm glad that I get to watch today then.
Yeah, I think in this case, let me do it. And but one thing I've found is this company, the Phyllo Factory, my wife actually found this particular one. And I had been using another brand. She came home with this, and it really works out well. I'll tell you what I like about it. I like that it really comes almost double the size of the pan that's needed, and it just lays down so well. It's very easy to work with, and so let's see how it does now. So I want to take this, usually go with Pyrex, and I'm going to bring this over here. So you will notice that there are wet paper towels here.
Okay.
The wet paper towels is a little secret that I learned along the way. Phyllo, when it's moist, is a little bit easier to work with.
Okay.
And so wet paper towels underneath, typically you want to have wax paper in between the phyllo dough and the wet paper towel.
Now, is this frozen or is it thawed out, or where do you store it after you buy it?
I'm really glad that you asked. So it comes frozen. And that's part of what makes it so difficult if it's not properly defrosted. So one thing that you never want to do is you never want to defrost phyllo in the microwave.
Okay.
It never works out evenly, and the best way is either to put it on your counter several hours before you make it, or I'll tell you a little trick. So earlier today, I had to prepare this dish here. In fact, let me get it out of the oven real quick.
We're going to get a sneak peek at the final product while we finish this one. It smells amazing. I'm glad that I got off the hook with doing this phyllo here. I always thought it was phyllo, so I'm definitely learning some new words.
Potato, potato.
I know.
So in making this, I was in a little bit of a rush because I had forgotten to pull the phyllo out. Plus, you know, farmers wants me to kind of work my day job too. So I had some other things to do in addition to the preparation. So I get the phyllo and I'm like, oh man, I haven't let it sit out long enough. Well, the trick is if you put it on your defroster vent up near your windshield of your car.
Okay.
I know it's random, isn't it?
Well, I work a lot out of my car, so this is a good tip.
So you pick it up at the grocery store, you literally put it up front, and I don't know how Farmers feels about me talking about phyllo being obstructing your vision, but it really works well to defrost this in a defroster when you're in a pinch.
So
Best
how do
case,
we do
again,
this?
you want to have it out longer. So let me put these here. All right, so this top layer kind of served the purpose of the wax paper since we didn't have that with us today.
That's a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Okay, and we'll just put this in the trash over here. So you see, it is sheets.
Thin. Yeah. It didn't look that different than the paper towels.
Yeah. So we take just a couple of sheets at a time.
Okay.
And you will calibrate your hands after a while. You will get this. In fact, please watch closely because I was thinking after we put the mixture in, maybe you would want to do the layer on top.
All right, we'll see.
Okay. So we have our first sheet. We get it ready. All right, once that is set, we have to coat the pan with the butter.
Okay. I know we preheated that butter, and you have your brush sauce.
We have a brush.
So we'll see if your Aunt Iris and your Yaya and your little boy Teddy at home approve
Yes.
of your technique later.
Sure they'll enjoy whatever's left.
It might be a good strategy to get my boys to eat spinach.
You know, it's a great strategy for that because Teddy definitely loves it. And of course, all the feta cheese. I would like to think that is good for you. So we're coating the pan. It's very important to coat the sides as well because otherwise it will stick. So we've got the sides, we've got the bottom really good. Now we're ready. So you see, again, just nice big sheets that they have. You're able to fold it over.
Touch it to see if they're prepared later.
And you put that first layer down. You really want to try it as much, it takes some patience, but you really want to try to keep it minimal and butter in between each layer. You don't want to take the whole thing and just gob it on there because it's just not going to be as good. The secret's in the butter.
I know,
it's
you sound
all
like
about
Paula
the butter.
Deen. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about Paula Deen, but or my mom. My parents are total opposites on the health spectrum. My dad doesn't want any salt or fat and things, and my mom thinks that that's necessary for life. So.
Well, then your mom would really love this dish because, and your dad may just enjoy it in small quantities.
I think Greeks and Latinos probably have a lot in common with food.
May very well.
Culture.
You know, isn't that always great? How, you know, so many cultures, you know, in some ways they're different, but really we're all about the same. So
you put 2 sheets that time, I noticed.
And that might have been me just trying to keep within our time, but you're right. And you can get away with that.
Okay.
But my very next one, I'm going to try to be a little bit more careful and just do the one.
Okay.
All about the butter. Speaking of the butter, so I do have a preference with that too. Land O'Lakes, for whatever reason, Land O'Lakes seems to work the best, and salted typically. Although if you're trying to watch your sodium intake, I think you'd be fine with maybe 1 to 2 sticks of salted and then the other stick unsalted. And that actually brings up another point too, just how much butter did we melt earlier? You know, a lot of these things, I've been doing this for so long, I don't even think about it. So we melted 3 sticks, and in this case, all 3 of them were salted.
Now, how many layers are we going to have time for today? Or how many layers do you usually do?
You know, so I do it until the eye level kind of catches
Okay.
it. But if I had to say, if we count this folded, I would say 4 to 5 is
Okay.
good for the bottom.
Okay.
And then a little bit more on the top.
Okay.
So after we do this, we'll go ahead and add the filling.
Awesome. Now this really doesn't take that long.
Not too bad at all, no.
Great.
Okay, you're up.
Okay. So, whoops.
Doing
This is
good.
a lot of spinach.
It is, yeah.
So I'm going to try to pack it down. It really is an awesome meal to give a kid. I can only get my kids to eat a little bit of arugula and pizza. So I'm going to try this. You always have that one picky kid that taints all the other kids.
Sure.
All right,
Especially
look
out
good?
of 3, yeah. Looks great. Tamp it down a little bit.
Okay.
You want this kind of tight. Fantastic.
Okay, I'm going to let you do the next layer, even though you offered me, just so that
You know what,
don't
I
slow
will.
us down.
You got it, because I know we've got just a few more minutes left.
Great. So how many layers do you do on the top?
Just a few more.
Okay.
So whatever you do at the bottom, just do a few more on the top.
Maybe I can start to prep the layers.
That would be great.
Now this is phyllo's used with baklava and lots of other Greek.
It is. It
Middle
is. And the same rule applies. Butter wins. Butter. It's all about the butter. And
All right.
so, you know, just in the interest of time,
Can we get away with just one?
And I think we should finish up with this
Okay,
one.
great.
And
the hook.
I think we should try the
Okay.
one that's already made.
Awesome. Let's do that. And how long do you put that in the oven usually?
So we put it in the oven at 350
Mm-hmm.
and typically for about 45 to 55 minutes. When you see it brown on the top
Mm-hmm.
and those upper layers are kind of coming up, that is when you know you've got it. You generally want to let it cool for 20 to 30 minutes
Mm-hmm.
afterwards.
Okay.
So we'll give it a little cut.
So crispy. It
Yeah.
smells delicious in here.
Yeah. You know, it's
So we
great.
didn't let it cool the total amount of time, so it might be a little messy, right?
Just a little bit, but it's okay. It comes with the territory.
We do have a spatula.
Oh,
but
we do?
I don't know. Yeah, right
Where is
over
it?
there.
Oh, fantastic. I forgot that we had it.
If it's messy, I think it tastes better.
You know, it will all taste the same, absolutely, messy or not. Yeah, if it had a little more time to cool. Okay, so, give you a fork.
All right. Are you going to taste
I
it
already
with
know
me?
what it tastes
Oh, okay.
like, so it's all you.
All right. Let's see. Try my filling. Mmm, it's so good. I always wanted to be that girl on the cooking show that was eating. I'm so excited.
Well, now you are.
Oh my
and
gosh.
We'll have more for you
Yes.
and our crew. And it's been very nice.
Thank you so much for teaching us how to make this. It has been a delight to be with you today, Gary. And if people want to get in touch with you, how would they do that after the show?
So again, Gary Cason, District Manager for Northern Virginia with Farmers Insurance. My information will be on the screen. You could reach me either through the web or also you could call me. And you can call me if you know of anybody who might be a good fit for farmers. But also, please call me if you have some questions about this dish. This is something that's been in my family for many, many years. And if you have any questions about it, be more than happy to help you with the recipe.
That's awesome. I cannot wait to, it was so easy and doable. And I just